am your host, G.I. Wingnut. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've been here before. We are continuing our coverage with 1952 and a Planned Deception, a book written by Constance Cumby. And the reason I'm focusing on 1952 is because of the list that's in there in that book on pages 27 and 28. Trying to help Laura over at Magical Mystery Church untangle some stuff. And I'm learning along the way. I hope others are as well. So, in the first episode, I covered the Theosophical Society. In episode 2, the Rosicrucians. In episode 3, the World Spiritual Council. In episode 4, the Society of Friends. Episode 5, the Buddhist World Publications. And in this, episode 6, we are covering The Voice with Joseph Busby as the editor. This is not going to be a real long episode. There's not a whole lot of information. But what I did find is pretty dadgum interesting. So, as you can see from the search results for my favorite browser, not many great matches came up for my particular search for The Voice, editor Joseph Busby. So I decided to look at The Voice, 1952. The Voice refers to a series of events and media appearances where the voice of God was heard on the radio, preempting all programming worldwide. This phenomenon is predicted in the 1950 American drama film The Next Voice You Hear, starring James Whitmore and Nancy Davis. Well, now see, somehow I'm not thinking this is what I'm looking for, but it could be. The story follows a typical American couple, Joe and Nancy Smith, as they experience the voice of God on the radio, causing worldwide hope and alarm. The film explores the positive and negative reactions of people to this event, showcasing the impact on their daily lives. The voice of God is never heard directly in the film, but its messages are read aloud by different characters, quoting biblical passages such as John chapter 1, voice 1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. So, hang on, this concept of a divine voice on the radio was a popular theme in 1950s American culture, reflecting on the era's fascination with technology and the supernatural. The idea of a single, omniscient voice speaking to humanity resonated with people, sparking both hope and fear. In summary, The Voice 1952 is a cultural phenomenon that represents a moment in time when the concept of a divine voice was explored in media, sparking conversations about faith, technology, and the human experience. For some reason, on that one, I'm thinking about Operation or Project Blue Book and some other conspiracy theory stuff. Interesting twist. All right, so according to the browser, Joseph Busby himself, and the time period would fit right, was a retired farmer and longtime resident of West Monroe, Louisiana. Born in 1871, died in 1963 at the age of 91. Not much is known about Joseph B. Busby's early life and career. However, it is mentioned that he was a farmer for most of his life. Joseph Busby was married and had several children. He was survived by 4 daughters, and they're all in Mississippi, and he had 7 grandchildren. Death and funeral. Legacy. Joseph B. Busby's legacy is that of a dedicated farmer and family man who lived a long and fulfilling life. He is remembered by his family and friends as a kind and loving person who will be deeply missed. All right, so I, this, okay, this next piece, this next piece is kind of crazy, so I'm gonna set it in its own segment. So, as I said, this next piece is kind of interesting. And I'm going to read out the whole article because, for one, Joseph Busby is named in here. But there's another name that jumped off the page. And I'm gonna let John Collins from Leaving the Message fill us in on who this character is in just a moment. But let's go ahead and read through this article, and then I'll put that John Collins video at the end of it, and then we'll do the outro. Like I said, this isn't going to be a very long video. There just wasn't a whole lot to be found other than certain connections. So, Man of Unity, Sant Kirpal Singh, Great Britain, Ireland. This is his second world tour. So, in Great Britain, on his second visit to Great Britain, Sant Kirpal Singh arrived in London at London Airport on 13 August. Now we go down here to the bottom of the article. It was in 1963, and when I get down there, I'll have to adjust things, I guess. Sant Kirpal Singh and Baron W.F. Blomberg held a meeting with the British Council of Churches, at which the World Fellowship of Religions was discussed. What particularly appealed to the council was the WFR plan to bring all religious leaders together for the benefit of humanity and furtherance of peace on earth. So, I'm going to stop right there for a second because I'm going to clue you in right now. Baron W.F. Blomberg, that's the name that jumped off the page at me. All right, we'll get back to him in just a moment. Continuing with the article. Meetings were held with representatives of the Caravan of East and West, the Royal Society of International Affairs, Amnesty International, the British Vegetarian Centre, the Order of the Cross, the Creative Association, and with Mr. Allen, a director of the British Broadcasting Corporation, Mrs. Hayes, president of the British Hospitals Association, and Mr. Gambardella, head of the British Restaurants Association. 9 meetings dealing with the science of the soul were held in Great Britain. 3 crowded meetings were held at the Sikh Cultural Centre in North London. Sant Kirpal Singh addressed these meetings in Punjabi for the benefit of the vast majority of the Sikh community. A meeting was held at the headquarters of the Yoga Vedanta group in North London and at the Esoteric Christian group in southeastern London, at the invitation of the editor of the, quote, Voice Universal, end quote, Mr. Joseph Busby. 2 meetings were given at Voice headquarters in Sussex, where Kirpal Singh had stayed on his previous Western visit in 1955. Remember, 52 is my pivot point on this whole project. 2 meetings at Caxton Hall in central London were crowded to overflowing. Dr. Leslie Jelfs, a medical advisor to the members of the royal family, received Sant Kirpal Singh and the tour party at his residence. The World Fellowship of Religions and the science of the soul were discussed, and the master consented to making a tape recording for the benefit of future visitors to Jelf's residence. Because of the tremendous public enthusiasm evoked by Sant Kirpal Singh's visit to London, the schedule in that great city was extended by 4 days. Further informal meetings and personal interviews were arranged in his hotel suite, and until the last moment on 25 August, when Sant Kirpal Singh departed for Dublin, Ireland, John Rawlins, the new representative of Rouhani Satsang, wished Master a stoic, "Well, goodbye, Master." The Master gazed at his disciple from South Wales with a quizzical and affectionate expression. "Why did you say goodbye, Rawlins?" he queried. "Do you think that I am ever going to leave you?" Those are reported by the members of the touring group. Ireland. Baron von Blomberg, who had traveled to Ireland a few days previously, was at Dublin Airport to greet the Master when he arrived. Baron von Blomberg was accompanied by Mrs. Runa Byrne, representative of the WFR in Ireland, and the tour party posed for pictures before the assembled television and press photographers. A press conference was held at in the airport lounge, and the following day, the arrival of Sant Kirpal Singh and a report of his mission was given wide and enthusiastic coverage in the major Dublin newspapers. On 25 August, Sant Kirpal Singh was received by President de Valera in the presidential palace. A further reception given by Prime Minister Lamass showed that the eminent political leaders of Ireland fully realized that the need for such a world mission of unity, goodwill, and spirituality. The Master was also welcomed at the Mansion House, Dublin, by the Lord Mayor, and after further consultation upon the purpose and message of his visit, another statement was issued to the press. It was evident that the Irish press wanted as full a coverage of Sant Kirpal Singh's mission as possible. On 25 August, Sant Kirpal Singh and his party visited the headquarters of the Medical Missionaries of Mary at Drogheda, several miles from Dublin, and traveled on to the world headquarters of the Columban Fathers. The Vicar General of the Columban Fathers, welcoming Sant Kirpal Singh and his party, said that it was the first time a non-Christian dignitary had been received at the headquarters. He went on to state that he had studied the views of the president of the World Fellowship of Religions and recognized that they embraced all religions. After a long discussion on the principles of the WFR, the Vicar General said that he would be very happy to be the advisor to the fellowship. As Kirpal Singh was leaving the Columban headquarters, the Vicar General turned to him and said, quote, "I am proud to have met you. You are a son of all religions," end quote. The Master and his party left the beautiful environs of Navan, where the Columban headquarters was located, and returned to Dublin. Sant Kirpal Singh spoke upon the science of soul and interreligious concepts at a Quaker residence in Dublin, where about 60 people received those ideas in the spirit of goodwill, which so exemplifies the Quaker philosophy. Please refer back to episode 4. It was the first time that a master from the Far East had been received in his ancient country. It was the first time that a master from the Far East had been received in this ancient country. Protestants, Quakers, Jews, and Roman Catholics met him to discuss the single solution to mankind's dilemma: God and the truths of God as expounded by all past masters of spirituality and written into the world's scriptures. Sant Kirpal Singh left Dublin Airport, New York, for New York on August 31st, 1963. The European tour was over. I guess I got another clip I need to dig out and drop on the end. All right, like I said, this isn't going to be a very long video. There wasn't a whole lot of information, just a lot of food for thought. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks. If you enjoyed this, if you're not already, please subscribe. If you haven't already, please give me a like. That always helps the algorithms, especially on YouTube. And feel free to share this information with anybody and everybody that you think might benefit from it. Thank you. I appreciate your support.
Baron William T. Frary von Blumberg was a leader in the International Christian Leadership, founded by Abraham Vereid, otherwise known as the Family. The Family is an evangelical Christian cult that holds the National Prayer Breakfast in Washington, D.C., and strongly influences key figures in Washington. In 1944, Abraham Vereid founded the group and served as the executive director until his death in 1965. The Family has recently come under scrutiny through a Netflix documentary series and negative press articles exposing the hidden underworld of influencing key figures in Washington. Baron Frary von Blumberg, who sponsored William Branham's international tours overseas, worked with Vereid in the early days of the organization and served as an executive member. Von Blumberg worked as a representative for the International Christian Leadership, holding conferences for the group in Finland, Sweden, Norway, Denmark, France, England, Scotland, Ireland, and Wales. Von Blumberg was instrumental in organizing the International Christian Leadership in many of those countries. Whether William Branham was a member of the group since 1946 or not, he openly admitted that von Blumberg sponsored his tours through those countries in the 1950s. You can learn this and more on william-branham.org.
Gutenberg printed the Bible in the middle of the 15th century. The printing press printed as many copies of the Bible as Gutenberg instructed it, but it did not create a single new page. It had no ideas of its own about the Bible. Is it good? Is it bad? How to interpret this? How to interpret that? AI can create new ideas, can even write a new Bible. Throughout history, religions dreamt about having a book written by a superhuman intelligence, by a non-human entity. Every religion claims our book, all the other books of the other religions, humans wrote them. But our book, no. It came from some superhuman intelligence. In a few years, there might be religions that are actually correct. That just think about a religion whose holy book is written by an AI. That could be a reality in a few years.
Everybody wants to